Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I am a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you are absolutely in love with. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. On today's episode, we have Katrina Owens, and she is the owner of Knockout Directive. She is a personal brand and publicity expert. Katrina, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself, kind of tell us like who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm Katrina. As you mentioned, I'm a personal branding and publicity expert. So I help small business owners, entrepreneurs understand how they can use public relations to grow their business. And I started this because I realized after working in corporate marketing and PR for 10 years, I started my company and realized that small business owners weren't using PR. Mostly because they didn't think it was for them. And my passion, which is educating businesses like mine on how they can really grow their business in an organic way.
Yeah, I feel like salon owners and people in our industry don't really know and understand this avenue to grow their business. And I feel like we're always looking for ways to market our business and really kind of like take things to the next level. So, what would you say the top benefit to having a strong personal brand is? And then kind of incorporating PR into utilizing that to grow their business? Wondering what it's like to work with me? Want to know what I've tried and tested in my salon and how you can create more freedom as a salon owner? I'm excited to offer an exciting way to get my coaching lessons to you in our podcast subscription. The Elevate Insider is an inside look into my coaching calls and includes exclusive content from me. These episodes contain coaching lessons and the exact steps you need to take to grow your salon. Plus, you'll receive special PDFs and supporting documents so that you can easily take action. To learn more and to become an insider, visit opulentbeautypro.com/insider or find an episode of the Elevate Insider on Apple Podcasts.
The really amazing thing to sum it all up is that you get to build a brand and business that's really fun. Because when you build a business using your personal brand, you get to attract clients that really align with you and your personality and your interests. You get to work with clients who really respect you, want to pay you, don't mind paying you more for a high quality service. And then adding on this PR element, it's just really fun, like going on podcasts, being able to speak at events, even just networking in your local community and starting to become known for your work. That's like a very dreamy part of owning a business. And to me, if you can develop a personal brand that is recognizable and people refer you and say your name in a crowded room of opportunities, that's the dream. So that really is the benefit to working to create a personal brand that attracts PR opportunities because they're all around you.
Yeah, I would love for you to share some of what those opportunities are. I feel like a lot of salon owners don't kind of veer down this avenue because they don't realize the opportunities that are available to them. So what would you say some PR opportunities are for anyone in our industry?
I totally agree. I think sometimes when we own a brick and mortar business specifically, we feel like our opportunity kind of stops on our geographical boundaries. But I always say focus on becoming famous in your own backyard first. So going to events, maybe it's even hosting events at the salon, joining different organizations within your community, and figuring out how you can position yourself among different industries. So for example, maybe there's an event with a lot of realtors. Well, I think a salon owner should go to the event and network with the realtors and figure out how you can start to promote yourself like across different industries and become the go-to for that particular niche or demographic. So this kind of offline in-person event space is one. But then what I really love for salon owners is figure out like what you're really passionate about in terms of, is it extensions? Is it color? Is it a certain kind of color? What are the areas of expertise that you can really serve your community with? And how can you become known for that particular service offering? I think for a lot of us as business owners, we think we have to be able to serve everybody with all of our services, when we could actually grow so much faster and become well known for something if we would just get a little bit more specific. So starting to position yourself as a go-to, whether it's for realtors or for a certain color or treatment or service, is a really nice way to start to position yourself geographically to attract more of these organic PR opportunities that are in your own backyard.
I would love for you to share like one of your biggest success stories. I know that's not on the list, but like just so the audience can really understand like the impact that incorporating these things into their business really can have. So is
Yeah.
there something that like comes to mind where you're like, oh my God, this is like my favorite story to share? Maybe one of my clients like
Yeah.
experienced or even you experienced.
So many. So let's talk about one that's like for a geographical based business, because I feel like that's going to have the most kind of resonance with the audience. So a yoga instructor client of mine, she really honed in on her personal brand after we worked together on a really clear strategy for her. So she does not offer online classes at this time. They're only in person. So we needed to figure out how we could position her in a sea of yoga instructors and yoga studios. How can we position her as the go-to for her very specific style, teaching style, and this sense of community that she was creating in her classes? So within 30 days, we decided to activate her Instagram following. She had about 1,500 followers, but she wasn't using Instagram to promote her business consistently or really at all. She had a really engaged email list. She had a website, but it wasn't super clear on what her offering was. So we did a holistic personal brand refresh, and within 30 days, she booked up all of her classes. She sold out a weekend workshop entirely to her email list without even building online hype. So she then launched the workshop again for a second weekend and marketed online. And she really started to position herself as the go-to yoga instructor for other instructors. Because when you can really get clear on how to teach and educate others, and I feel like this is so great for salon owners, that's when you become like that expert. And people really start to admire you for this information that you can give them. So now, she started off in this kind of brick and mortar space where she was just teaching geographically based classes in a very small region. She's now thinking about how she can serve a wider audience by maybe starting to offer some like virtual education. So I feel like that's totally applicable here, because it shows you how if you can just consistently build up a following, even if it is in person, that translates into so many online opportunities. So that just kind of goes to show like the strength of a personal brand and like building your community offline first. I think it's so powerful.
So there are a couple of things that I loved that you said.
Yeah.
First of all, you said activate her Instagram.
Mm.
What did you mean by that? Because this is, I think, a struggle for everybody. I feel like social media is a love-hate thing for so many different
Totally.
people. So, and I feel that like this is one of the things that definitely gets put on the back burner for a lot of salon owners because they feel like they don't have time. But
Yeah.
I mean, with this story you just shared, it really just goes to show that when you do put time and effort into social media, that you can really make an impact. So when you said activate your Instagram, what did you mean by that?
For context, because I'm not someone that has like thousands of followers myself. I started my own Instagram account about a year ago, and I've grown it to about 1,200 followers, and they're super engaged. They message me all the time, they comment. So it feels like I've created this sense of community. So this is what I wanted her to do, because I knew in her offline world, Her students loved her. They loved what she had to say. And I knew that they wanted to see her more often. So I'd given her the same kind of formula that I was using to grow my own following too. So it's posting consistently. Doesn't have to be 5 times a week or 7 days a week. I always say like 3 times a week is a nice like baseline, and then maybe try and post something on stories like every day. Doesn't have to be on weekends. I actually take like a social media break most weekends and don't post at all. But by showing up consistently and including content where you're speaking to the camera about the services and expertise that you offer, that's when people really start to like see you as this educator in the space. So that's what we did for her. We started implementing very consistent content, but strategically in a way where it positioned herself as the expert. So she didn't just jump on and say, hey, I'm trying to fill this class. She said, this is why I teach this class. This is who it's for. This is what you'll learn. And this is why you won't get this anywhere else. So that's really beneficial for salon owners because you have to start differentiating yourself on social media. It is such a powerful tool. And this is coming from me, who a year ago, I didn't think I could sell anything on Instagram. And now it's the main lead generator for my business too. So I really believe in it. If we can be consistent and get over the I don't have enough time or ideas. There's so many resources to give you more ideas and more inspiration. So it's leaning into it and just knowing that it can be a powerful tool if you use it properly.
I know I tell people that all the time. You have to talk into the camera.
Yes.
You have to be like your authentic self and just share who you are, which is so difficult for so many people. I mean, social media can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be scary because there are a lot of trolls. So I think getting over that fear and just not caring, because who cares about the people who are saying things that don't even align with you anyway?
Not your ideal client. So why bother? We don't care about them. They're not paying us.
And, you touch base about not having a lot of followers. I feel like so many people get caught up on the follower number, and that's not what you should focus on. You should focus on your engagement and really focus on the people who are following you, who align with you and really truly love what you're doing and what you're saying. Those people will turn into customers. And that is the whole point, is having a following that can actually convert into people spending money with you. Exactly. So I think getting your mind off of the amount of people in compared to the amount of people who are actually engaging with you and enjoying watching you.
I really agree with that. And I also think there are so many accounts these days with hundreds and thousands of followers, and then they get very minimal engagement. And it's like, what is the point? What is the point of that then? Because we're clearly not making sales from that. So we can't get caught up in the vanity metrics because it's just not worth it.
It isn't. Another thing that you said was a holistic personal brand refresh. Do you kind of want to touch on what that is? And is that something you offer? And then if our audience did want to, work with you, is that something that they can do in the future?
Yes, such a great question. So this holistic brand refresh is really important. And it kind of goes back to my main ethos as a business owner, which is this concept of big brand energy. So I really believe that if we want to have this amazing business that we're dreaming about, we have to act like we have it right now. So that means having the professional brand photography, a beautiful website that is complete and has all of your business information. We do our email marketing. We show up consistently on social media. I know there's so many things, but all of the big businesses do it. And it is possible as you grow to, outsource some of these things. But unfortunately, the nature of being a business owner means we have to do some of these things to see success and reach our next level. So I really believe that's true when it comes to personal brands, especially when we get caught up in the comparison game and looking at some of these big influencers or keynote speakers or the industry leaders in our space. We think we can't attain that, but then we're not even acting like we're in the same room as them when you can. You can set up a beautiful website. You can for me, I added a speaker page on my website when I didn't have any speaking opportunities booked because I wanted to be a speaker, but I realized that no one would give me an opportunity to speak if they didn't know that I was one. So it's doing some of these things even if we feel like we're not ready yet. So that's what I do with a lot of clients who have this big dream for their business, but need to know how to get there. So when you want to do like podcasts or speaking engagements or like go on your local news station and be on TV, it starts with having a very consistent and clear personal brand. So this holistic personal brand refresh starts with like a discovery and strategy. So that's really where I start with business owners who might not have like an established presence. And that's where we bring all the pieces together. We make sure that we have the website, we know what we're doing on social media, we know how we set ourselves apart in our community. And then we can layer on public relations like PR outreach, going on to podcasts, pitching ourselves to the news or the lifestyle segments. Because once you have the brand in place, it's actually not that hard to show people why they should be featuring you. So it's kind of a two-step process that I work with personal brands on, this discovery and strategy, and then this more like publicity coaching, personal brand coaching element to really keep the efforts high and keep engagement high.
I love that. Okay, so if you could challenge our audience to do three things to solidify their personal brand or land PR engagements, what would they be?
Ooh, such a good question. So the very first one is to do a neutral and honest review of your competitors. It's so uncomfortable. We let our competitors intimidate us, especially if they have a much bigger following or we feel like they're doing something better than us. But what we need to understand is that competitors are a natural part of being a business owner. They are going to exist. So we have an opportunity to assess what they're doing and then figure out how we can do things differently. So if your competitor as a salon owner is really pushing extensions, like that's what they're talking about on their feed all the time, well, why don't you lean into color or like really amazing short hairstyles, which you don't see a lot of these days. People always want to embrace like long locks, but I want to go somewhere and know that someone's going to give me a killer bob. So assess how you can differentiate yourself. Maybe it's the products. There's so many different tangents you can go down, but it's really important to understand your competitor differentiation. It's uncomfortable, but I always say pick your three biggest and just kind of look at their social media, look at their website, and take a third-party perspective to understand what they're doing well and what they're not doing and where the opportunity is to kind of diverge from them. So that would be the first one. Secondly, once you've understood where your competitors are, the next challenge is getting really clear on your messaging. So this is where we can confuse people because if we're just like, we are a fabulous salon and we do it all, well, that can actually get a little bit lost. Like, that's so amazing. But if I'm like, well, I want extensions and I want to go to an extension specialist because I want to know that I'm receiving a high quality treatment, a product, etc. Okay, well, I'm probably not going to the place that does it all because they don't feel like specialists to me. So determine what your differentiation is and then really get clear on saying it and then talk about it on social media, talk about it on your website, create content that reinforces that instead of like, sometimes when we're like looking for content ideas, we want to go all over the map and like, I am an extension specialist, but today I'm going to talk about color because someone had a color correction at my salon and it's an interesting topic. That's great, but it doesn't reinforce your positioning or the differentiation you're trying to reinforce. So what I would suggest is think about how you could use that example to reinforce your positioning. So someone had a color correction. Well, explain how that affected the extensions that they then had installed. Or always try and circle back to that main positioning in your content, just so you don't get lost and like dilute your message. So that would be my second, that clear messaging, positioning. And then the third challenge is to like get out there. Like outside the salon is where the magic happens, whether it's going for coffee with other business owners or going to events, or even, like I mentioned before, hosting an event in your salon for other business owners. Referrals and like this offline networking is such a powerful business tool. And we think the growth happens online and we think the growth just exists on Instagram or in our social media following. But the most powerful connection is what happens when we leave the comfortable space. So I always say, where can you go this week where you might be able to cross paths with someone who could offer you future business or an introduction to something? So those would be my three.
I love that last one because I do feel like we kind of get stuck in our comfort zone and we're
Yeah,
talking to people all day long. So the idea of going out and meeting more new people can seem overwhelming, but it
for
really
sure.
is like getting out in your community is one of the best ways to grow your business. And I think it's one of, again, another underutilized way to really kind of make an impact in your community and to really kind of grow your business with that real community connection. So thank you for sharing that.
Totally.
Think we covered a lot. So share
Yeah.
where people can find you and how they can work with you. And if you have any free guides or resources.
I am Knockout Directive on Instagram, and my website is knockoutdirective.com, where you can start to see some of my services and how we can work together. I do offer wide range of personal branding and publicity coaching services for business owners at every stage. Sometimes we think like, oh, I'm not ready for PR yet. Well, I can help you get ready. And I think it's important to understand that anybody can start to use PR to grow their business. So that's what I'm really passionate about, sharing with other women. So that's where you can find me. And I do have an amazing free resource on my website. It is my favorite PR resources, all conglomerated into one document. So if you want to learn how to pitch yourself, where to find podcast opportunities or opportunities to write in articles, that's a free guide on my website that you can opt into. It's right on the homepage. So that's a good one. I'm going to retire it soon because it's time to update it, but get it in the next couple months, and then I'll have something juicier for you as well.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I feel like all of the information you shared today was so valuable, and I appreciate you spending the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and is produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Opulent Beauty Pro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing, and we will see you next week.